Welcome to the Music Retail Show. Fun, engaging, educational conversations for the musical instrument community. The Music Retail Show is brought to you by MIRC LLC, providing solutions for the musical instrument community by being a reliable source for diverse music products. If you need inventory for your music store, pawn shop, or e-commerce site, go to mircweb.com to find out more.
All right, we are jumping into another episode of the Music Retail Show here at Summer NAMM 2021, and we have Glen McCarthy here from GAMA. Glen, it's a pleasure to meet you. We literally just met right now, but we've heard a lot about what you do.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's kind of fun to be here.
Yes.
It's my first podcast, so I am a rookie at this business. So first of all, you said GAMA, and people are saying, what that is GAMA. So GAMA is the Guitar and Accessories Marketing Association.
Okay.
All right. And my hat that I wear with them is actually working with a group called Teaching Guitar Workshops.
Okay.
And the Teaching Guitar Workshops is such that in the world of music education, typical high school, lovingly in their program has what I call the Holy Trilogy. And what would that be? BOC. What's BOC? Band, Orchestra, Chorus.
Okay.
All right. And that's a typical suburb, I would say, would have those three things.
Okay.
If we're talking about Sheridan, Wyoming, it might be band and chorus, and that's it.
Okay.
So what Teaching Guitar Workshops is, it's a week-long professional development opportunity where any of those disciplines, a band director, choral director, can come to the program. And this is where GAMA comes into play in this. So they come and they sit down, they get a box of literature. And what am I talking about, literature? Can I say publishers' names, or should I just say publishers?
Sure.
Okay, so Hal Leonard, Alfred, FJH, Classic Guitar Resources, all of these publishers send these method books for us to work with to integrate the pedagogy to teach guitar.
Okay.
So, and it's like I said, it's a professional development opportunity, and it's also affiliated with Vandercook College so they can get 3 graduate credits. So, the program's been together since 1995.
Okay.
And when we typically do a workshop, it's around the country. I can honestly say I am really proud to say that in the end of May of this year, I was teaching 20 music educators in a nice little town called Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And just to see people again, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but the last gig I had as a performing musician was St. Paddy's Day weekend. I was playing in an Irish band at a resort in Virginia, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
And it was great, but and that was when the pandemic was starting to go on. World changed overnight, right? And so this was the first time I actually taught people in person. So anyhow, that's pretty much, so like I said, so they get all this music, and then what are they supposed to play on? GAMA again, the guitar manufacturers. And this one company that I just recently heard of called MIRC donated guitars to the program. So these people are getting guitars that they then can play these songs and we're teaching them. We're trying, in a week's time, they're not going to be killer guitar players, but we hope they're going to be killer guitar educators.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get a scale for what you do. How many educators do you guys work with?
Well, typically I say BC, before COVID,
That's good. We got to remember that.
Right? I mean, come on. So BC, we would have maybe 250 participants in maybe 15 workshops around the country.
Okay. All right.
So, and we just, for instance, we had what's the word? There's a fancy word now where you do both virtual and live. Congruent. That's the new educational fancy word. So we were doing these congruent lessons right here in Trevecca, at Trevecca University.
Okay, yeah.
And so Steve, who is the host there, who's the guitar educator there, worked and had it all set up so they were doing Zoom lessons as well as in person at the same time. So, you know, and I think that's the way of the world. I think going forward, we're going to see more of that, where people are going to be teaching and both congruently. I mean, people are going to want to stay at home, and then there's going to be people that want that energy, which I so missed, and which we got to have there in Alaska. It was just awesome.
Yeah, and are the educators, and I'm just trying to get the full scale, are the educators that you work with typically are employed by schools?
Oh, yes.
They could be
public school teachers.
Public schools, okay.
Yeah, most of them.
Okay.
Now, there are some parochial school and private school people that take the workshop.
Okay. Yeah.
And there are some collegiate folks that will come just to sort of see what the heck is this all about.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of interesting to get that same kind of, well, what I'll say is this. So if it's a primary teacher, you know, somebody's teaching elementary school, well, the first couple days we're on strings 1, 2, and 3, and we're using simple C and simple G and simple G7, 1-5 progressions. And I apologize if I'm, you know, 1-5 and that sort of stuff.
Oh, no, that's great.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, so we're doing that kind of info, and for a beginning primary teacher, that's enough. By Thursday, we're in the bar chords.
Yeah.
And they're crying. Because it's like, bar chords, I can't do this.
What is this form of torture?
What is this chord? What is this torture? Right. So, but anyhow, so they get that. And so they get guitars, they get music, and they get swag. They get straps, picks, capos, picks. And our approach is all inclusive in that we what would I say? We incorporate pick style, but as well, finger style, we do that. I mean, one of the ones that, you know, later in the week. So each day, we combine it and think it's like 9 weeks of a school year.
Okay.
So after Tuesday, it's time for winter break.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
By Thursday, the school year's done. So a heck of a lot of material is being presented to these folks because it goes from 8:30 to 4:30 every day.
Okay.
So it's a long day.
Yes.
You know.
And do you get educators that are all over the board, like some that are extremely experienced and have been doing this for years?
Well, and we have 2 levels. We have a level 1 and a level 2.
Okay.
And the level 2, it's kind of like we expect them to know the 1, 4, 5 minor 6. In the cage system, we expect them to be able to play and read fluently in first position, so that, you know, in the level 2, we're getting into jazz forms and jazz chords and classic guitar repertoire, and, you know, so it's more advanced.
Yeah.
You know, level 2, like I said. So, so Ian and you, Nathan. So Ian and Nathan, we were talking before this started about, like I said, qualifying the customer. So I just want to say, so you all that are music store people out there, what I think that's so important is that you realize is that going to your local school and finding out, hey, do we have a guitar program? And because it's amazing to me, like I went out to Fairbanks, like I said, and I love going to the local shops to just see what's going on there, you know, and see what product they're selling and all that sort of stuff. And I walked in, and the gentleman had no idea that, number one, there was a guitar workshop going on at the local high school.
Okay.
Had no idea about sort of
I could see the connection that needs to happen.
Yeah, there needs to be that connection, and I think that's really important. And we try to do that. Typically when I book a workshop, I try to, with the host, whoever is, you know, hosting the workshop, hooking us up with a local shop to so that they can come and maybe talk about their store and that sort of stuff to the educators that are there. The majority of people that come to these locations live in that vicinity, but there are some people that travel. Like Nashville, to be honest, is kind of it's a draw. Yeah. So when we do the workshop here in Nashville, we've had people from California, from Washington, from all over the states. So,
who came up with the idea and how did all this get started?
Yeah, back in 1995. That's when this thing started, which is kind of interesting. It was kind of an alignment of the moons.
Okay.
The guy that was the president of MENC, which is the National Association for Music Educators, they now changed their letters because it used to be the Music Education National Conference, MENC. So now they changed it to NAFME, the National Association for Music Educators.
That is a lot to remember.
That's a lot to remember, right? So let's face it. There's NAMM, there's GAMA, there's all these letters, right? So anyhow, the beauty of this was Will Schmidt was his name.
Okay.
And Will was a president of NAFME.
Okay.
He thought, and he wrote Essential Elements, which is a very, I know that book. Yeah, so he was a writer of that book. All right, so he got in touch with GAMA and NAMM and Duquesne University. And the representatives of these groups got together and they said, yeah, this is kind of a cool idea. Let's try to do this. So the first year they had 2 workshops. And one was at Duquesne, and one was up in Wisconsin where Will was from.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Purely just putting it out there. Hey, if you're an educator, music, whether it's guitar or anything else, you should how did you invite these people to this workshop?
Good question. So we use we use social media as best we can.
Yeah.
But as well, we advertise in NAFME in their magazines and on their email blasts that they send out and stuff like that. But if anybody is at all interested more about the program, you can tell them it's
it's Guitar EduNet.
Okay, it's www.guitar.
Okay.
unet.org.
Okay.
So it's short for another one, Guitar Education Network.
Okay, gotcha.
So guitaredunet.
Okay, totally got that. So the website's great, and there's a lot of information, and I mean everything that you guys provide. To me, it sounds like you just have educators across the country lining up to be a part of this, because it seems like it's also a support group at the same time.
Yes.
And that continues after the conferences or when you guys originally...
Well, and it's kind of interesting because we have about, I think about a dozen clinicians right now.
Okay.
So a lot of times what we try to tell someone, they come to the level 1 if they're not a guitar player. Mm-hmm. And they, like I said, bar chords are like freaking out.
Yeah.
So we tell them, come again, okay? But come to some other workshop where it might be a different clinician. And what I try to do is, so I'm the one that books the clinicians in the sites. So for instance, in the Nashville site, Steve is the host, so he's always there. But I try to get a secondary clinician different than what was there the year before. So if somebody likes Nashville, they want to come back, they'll have an experience of a different clinician.
Yeah.
And, I will say I've done this for many years. When I first started doing it, I had brown hair, I ain't telling you what color it is now. But anyhow, the
not too far off.
Yeah,
from mine,
there you go.
Looks
right?
Good.
Yeah, it's very distinguished.
That's
What do you think, Ian? Ian's the youngster over here. He's laughing at us. I'm telling you. But doing these workshops year after year, I'm sitting there and I'm watching some other clinician talking, or some other of the teachers that's in the class that may have been teaching guitar, and they'll say, hey, I tried this. And I was like, damn, that's a good idea. Why didn't I ever think of that?
Yeah.
So the teachers that come back, they find it's worthwhile to even take it again.
Yes.
And so for the first year, it's $399. And think about that. You're getting a guitar, you're getting music, you're getting all this swag, okay?
And the education.
The professional development credits. And then for an additional, those people out there that are education-minded folk, $170 for 3 graduate credits.
Yeah, that's
which
incredible.
Is typically you're spending more like $1,000 for 3 graduate credits.
That's right.
So the beauty of this is you take it 1 year, okay? You take it another year, you come back as an alumni, it's cheaper. You'll have to look at the site. I don't remember.
Yeah, it actually goes down to $319.
$319. There you go.
Yeah, you save $80.
So I mean, that's not a lot, but in this day and age, that'll get you a couple cheeseburgers.
That's right. Or here at the convention center, one sandwich.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's very cool. But how did you specifically get
started in this?
How did you get started in this?
So I started teaching classroom guitar when dinosaurs roamed the earth, which was in 1976.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, and this was a high school, and the principal at the time, I came in for my interview, and he said, so I want you to be the assistant band director. I want you to teach jazz guitar, or jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to do theory, and I want you to, he says, I really want to offer you a full-time job. What else could we do? And I was a young puppy coming out of West Virginia University.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, a fellow West Virginia.
There's that. Okay.
Yes.
There's a lot of connections with Jason, just saying.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah, I know, right? So, but what was funny is so our principal was also a WVU grad.
Okay.
So
I really see what's going on
right?
here.
I know. So he said, I want to offer you a full-time gig. What else could you do? So I said, honest to God, I said, how about a piano class? Because I was thinking in '76, piano, piano labs was kind of a thing.
Okay.
And he said, oh, they're too expensive. I don't want to buy pianos. I said, all right. His name was Bob Russell, great man. I said, Bob, how about a percussion ensemble? Because at the time, that was a big thing at WVU. The gentleman that was the percussion guy went to Africa and brought back all these African instruments. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I was in that group, so I kind of knew about that stuff, and I thought that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
His line was, Jesus, Glenn, we have enough drummers in the band. We don't want any more drummers.
Drummers always get a bad rap.
Right? I know. They always do. It's a shame.
Yeah.
So I said on a lark, I said, how about a guitar class? He said, how much are guitars? I said, entry-level guitar, $100. He says, I could buy 20 of those and be cheaper than a Barry sax. I said, well, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, let's do it.
Yeah.
So when I started, I had 2 classes of beginning guitar.
Okay.
And the funny thing was, when I went to college, I was a trumpet major.
Okay.
But how did I pay for college? Playing gigs on the weekends, playing bass and guitar.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I kind of knew a little bit about what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, and that's...
Man, you just kind of jumped right out there and took that risk to...
I did.
Yeah, that's great. We need more of an attitude like that these days.
Well, and so I think what happened was, instead of just teaching this, I call it the Kumbaya class.
Mm-hmm.
You learn C and G7 and you sing... Kumbaya or whatever, campfire tunes, So instead of doing that, this was 76, okay? So what was I teaching them? I was teaching them Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I was teaching them Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix songs. Yeah.
And what did I do? When the class was over, I'd crank the stereo in the classroom so the kids walking by were like, dude, what's going on?
Yeah.
Within 5 years, I was doing nothing but guitar.
Unbelievable.
And guess what they had to do? They had to hire another music teacher to pick up the slack of the band, the assistant band director, and the jazz band, and the theory, and all that.
Yeah.
So, and the rest was history.
Man.
So when I retired from teaching high school, I walked out of the door with 250 kids playing guitar per year.
I mean, that's impressive, and I've never been a part of. I've obviously took guitar lessons, but I've never been a part of a class setting. So,
right.
It's really interesting to know about the approach that it would take to teach multiple people at the same time.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge to be sure, and the thing that's interesting about teaching guitar is, well, anything I think, is you have the kids that just ain't gonna get it, all right? And then you have these kids that, I already know that. I want something else. And you've got this bell curve of, you want to reach the kids in the middle.
Yes.
You want to challenge those kids and give them a good experience. and hopefully you can pick up those kids that are stragglers along the way, you know. But I don't know. I was just really successful, and it worked out that I would teach a level 1 class, a level 2 class, and then I had a guitar ensemble. And guitar ensemble literature is kind of an interesting beast. That the growth of people that write for guitar ensemble is really, it's grown. It's exponential, the amount of literature you can buy to do that. And you know, some people say, oh, I don't want to do the classic guitar thing. Well, there's pick style guitar ensembles that are out there as well. So you can incorporate any style that are out there. And so besides ensemble, what's important? I want them to be legit players. So the people that say, oh, I don't want to do tab. No, you teach them tab. But at the same time, you play a tune on the you know, whatever platform you have. And in that recording that they're listening to, you say, okay, this song is in the key of C. Tell me what the other chords are. Develop their ear. What a concept, you know? Then you start with the blues, right? Okay, so they learn a simple, you know, da 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 da, you know, your typical power chord crap. But then the beauty of it is, so you teach them, you know, minor pentatonics, major pentatonics, get them going into improvisation. So that when they leave my class, they could either gig, as far as with a garage band. They can play in their church because they know how to read music. They can do it in a pit orchestra so that they can play along reading charts. You know, so, and that's the thing. I don't like to say I want to pigeonhole kids when it's guitar, that all they do is, you know, just play by ear. You know, the joke is, how do you shut up a guitar player?
Put music in front of them?
You put music in front of them. But then what's the adverse of that? How do you shut up a piano player? You take it away. Think about that.
Yeah,
a lot of piano players, when they first learn, you know, it was the old Thompson Bastion series, whatever, and they're, you know, so anyhow.
Man, that's excellent. I will say that a lot from my perspective, the whole concept of teaching musical instruments, it needs to grow more and more. I mean, it needs to be more involved in young people's lives. I mean, like right now, my 12-year-old came to me the other day. We've been, just kind of let them explore, and he's really getting into music. He likes to listen to music, and he came to me and he says, Dad, I think I want to learn how to play an instrument. And I said, you do? Well, what do you want to learn how to play? And he says, I think I want to learn how to play guitar. And I was just like, well, yeah, absolutely. I'll run out and buy a guitar right now. But I think a lot of parents and maybe a lot of kids in school probably, they have that desire, they have that need, but a lot of times, you know, parents might go, well, where am I going to take them? What am I going to do? And having musical education classes like that in schools is a perfect thing. They didn't have it when I was going to school in Ohio. They didn't have anything. It was what you said before. It was band, orchestra, and chorus.
And that was it, probably.
That was it. There was no guitar. There was no piano. There wasn't anything out there, and you had to go find somewhere else. But I feel like this is something that's brilliant and needs to catch on even more than it is.
Well, and I don't think I mentioned it yet, but to me, what we now are doing in the teaching guitar workshops, it's teaching guitar and ukulele.
Oh, okay.
Because we found that ukulele, that growth is amazing.
Sure.
And to be honest, how can you not play a ukulele and smile? I mean, there's just the funniest little thing.
That's right.
I mean, you know, so we do one day of teaching ukulele. Well, half of the day, or pretty much. But the thing that I think some people don't even realize, so the fancy word for a ukulele tuning is reentrant. And what is reentrant? Where it's, my dog has fleas, so it's a high note, then a low. So what else? A 5-string banjo, that's a reentrant tuning. Okay. But then a character like Israel, I can't say his last name, but the guy that did Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yes.
Okay. So when he played that song, it was on uke, but it was a linear tuned uke. So what he did is the 4th string on that, instead of being that high G, it was low G. G, C, E, A. So those were the pitches that he's using on his ukulele. What happens if you put a capo at the 5th fret of your guitar?
I don't know.
It becomes a ukulele.
Oh.
So think about it,
Yeah.
So if you want to do ukulele tunes and you got a guitar, you put a capo at the 5th fret and you can play a linear tuned ukulele on strings 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Man, my goodness, I just learned something new today.
That's why I came.
I know, that's exactly it.
Jason said, you got to teach these guys something.
You got to teach these guys. They don't know anything. Oh, man, that's great, though. I hope everything you guys are doing is wildly successful. I mean,
well, it's, obviously like everybody else, during the pandemic, life was a little crazy. And the day job that I do now, I teach at George Mason University, which is in Fairfax, Virginia. But what's interesting is I have become a Zoom Jedi master.
Oh, I bet you have.
I mean, I've been teaching my butt off on that stuff. And to do that workshop in Alaska, oh my God, the energy at last of a classroom.
Finally to be around people. I know.
It was amazing. And this is great.
I know.
I mean, welcome back,
Yeah, which is great. Everything, it's a guitaredunet.org, guitaredunet.org for anybody that wants to check out everything that Glen's talking about. But I'm interested to hear what you think of Summer NAMM this year. It's a little bit different. People didn't know if they were going to come or not. Some people came at the last second.
Yeah.
But I still think what we've been talking about with some of our other guests is that we still need that. We still need that connection.
The connection's amazing. I mean, it's always I'll leave out the name, but it was funny. So I said, okay, so are we doing an elbow bump? And it was, okay. I said, how about a handshake? Let's do that too. I said, how about a hug? Yeah, let's go. I mean, it's just like,
it's okay.
Yes, it's okay,
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
The world has been so weird the last year. So,
exactly.
And I think people were just so wanting to come and be a part of something. And yeah, I'm glad everybody's here, and I'm glad NAMM is doing what they're doing this year and didn't cancel it. I'm glad they saw things through.
I concur 100%.
Yes.
And I mean, so walking around, the thing that's interesting, I've been to these shows a number of times, and I lovingly called Nashville the Baby NAMM show.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's smaller, but it's more intimate. And just doing stuff like this, I don't think that's going to happen in Winter NAMM.
No, actually, we tried. Yeah, you can't. I don't even know if you could do a podcast out on the floor.
It's too damn noisy.
No, I mean, there's like a guy nailing a snare right here and a guy with a Marshall full stack blaring right here.
Yeah, not just a half stack, but a full stack.
Yeah, full stack. That's right. That's rock and roll.
And turn it up to 11 with a distortion.
This one goes to 11. So, but that's cool. Are you taking this time to try to just connect with people in the industry?
Yeah, the supporters that. For instance, some of the names that I mentioned, but the guitar manufacturers that support the program and have donated instruments. Always good to say hello, thank them. Like you guys coming to the reception tonight, I hope.
Yeah, we are.
Good.
Yeah.
So, but it's that sort of thing. I mean, it just giving thanks, really.
Yeah.
Just and personally thanking them. I mean, emails are great, calls are great. But just that in-person connection is really good. And to be honest, we're checking out the new kids on the block and just see what's out there and any new products that we think would benefit from being either a GAMA member or a supporter of TGW.
Yes.
So, both good things. And, the Idea Forum, which is always interesting to me, I kind of try to sneak over there and catch some of the stuff that's going on.
Okay.
So...
Glen, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking time out of the day to come and say hello. And I think something just happened behind us, but that's okay. But
no babies were hurt.
Nobody was hurt. No blood. But anyways, Glen, thank you so much. What you guys do, I think, is extremely impactful. And
thanks.
Like I said, I hope it just keeps building and building and going forever, because we really do need music to be a part of young people's lives. We really do.
Hear, hear.
And to get there, you have to have educators that know how to educate, and that's exactly what you guys are doing. So
well, and I will say this. I mean, I know that through my career, when I was teaching in public school with 3 daughters at home, I was going to the local music store and teaching privately, as well to to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And my point being is, some of these music stores that support this podcast, if they have that opportunity to teach lessons in their stores, that's a great opportunity to have revenue. And as well, those kids are coming in for those lessons and they see that guitar, ukulele, whatever on the wall, they might be interested in, can I try that one, and it's a great way to develop sales.
Yes, absolutely. So Glen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And man, if we can continue to have conversations in the future, that'd be great.
Hear, hear.
So, all right, have a great show.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Music Retail Show.